Hello everybody, welcome to Between the Covers. My name is Bradley Shaw and joining us tonight is Vignesha, author of The World Beneath the Fine Print and Other Stories, which is a great collection of works. Evening, Vignesha, how are you?
Good, thank you.
That's good. Tell us about this wonderful book, The World Beneath the Fine Print.
So, The World Beneath the Fine Print, it's a collection of short stories. The majority of it is based on two fictitious worlds called Numberville and Langville. Numberville is inhabited by numbers with tails made up of digits after their decimal points, and Langville is inhabited by languages, and they have big pockets with grammar strands sticking out of them. So the book basically follows the adventures of the numbers and the languages, at first separately, like individually, but then an event unfolds which means that the languages have to move to Numberville. And since they're two very separate worlds, when two different worlds come together, there are bound to be some clashes. So things become interesting. And the other stories also play on the same themes of maths and science, with a lot of personification. Like, I think in one of the stories, I've personified the elements of the periodic table. So yeah, that's basically what the book's about.
So forgive me, but it sounds like you have so much, when you're talking about this book, I noticed that you have so much enthusiasm about it. So obviously these elements, numbers and language, an inspiration or inspiring you. Is that right?
Yep.
So when you wrote the book, how did you conceive that this is a subject or a theme that you wanted to entail into the book to share with readers? Tell us how you created such amazing worlds of Numberville and Langeville, and yeah, what was your motivation for that?
I'm really inspired by maths. I enjoy maths, so
I've never heard anybody say that before.
That's what I'm trying to change. So because it really inspires me, I think I was just sitting on the train one day and I got an idea about a story where I could include these numbers chasing each other and trying to grab each other's tails, because they have tails made up of their decimal points. And then it started off as just like one story, but then I wrote a second one, which was the languages, because I was inspired by my English class at school, where we learned about the transformations English has undergone, like in terms of its grammar and vocabulary, etc. So I decided to make it a thief and call it Pickpocket Lane, where it steals the grammar and some of the vocabulary of the other languages, like Latin, for example, a big one, French, So yeah, that's basically, and then it just started evolving, and yeah.
Well done. No, it is a wonderful collection. You did a great job. So was it difficult to write the book as you say, as in stories and creating that? And just for the viewers watching, you're in high school still, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're what, 16, 17?
Yep, 17.
17. So and how long ago did you write this book? Like, started writing this book?
I think 2 years ago.
So you were 15 when you wrote this book. So it's a big task and a big job. So when you were writing it, did you really sort of conceive it as a book, or did you just enjoy?
I just started playing with the ideas and just writing it because it was fun. But then it actually started coming out as, something that could potentially be made into a book. So
yeah, was it difficult to write it as a book once you sort of started thinking about it in the construct? Did you actually like to put it all together and make it all?
It did, because I just started getting ideas at different points, and they weren't necessarily in order. So I think the ordering of it was pretty hard, because a book has to be in order, obviously, right? It can't just be. So I remember in one of the stories, I killed a language, but and in another one, that language was alive. So obviously I couldn't order it such that they were, reincarnated. I had to reorder it. So I think that was pretty hard when I finally conceived it as a book.
Yeah. And so what other challenges did you face in writing? Because you obviously were learning the craft of writing as you went along. Like, you're obviously very intelligent. So as you say, in English, you probably can write and understand the construct, but putting a book together for readers to enjoy, what were your challenges in your mind that you faced?
For the math stories, it was pretty hard to make sure that it's mathematically correct, but at the same time it doesn't have jargon, because at the end of the day it's for young readers, right?
Yeah.
So they wouldn't really enjoy something that's heavily jargonated. So I think finding that balance between making sure that it's correct, and also making sure that it's not too technical, I think that was a challenge.
Yeah, it's having an entertainment value, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, reading it, you did make it very entertaining. The characters are very personable. They're actually got those identifying personalities that you would expect in a maths sort of construct. So you did very well there. So obviously your family and friends have supported you. Have you shared this with them? Have they read the book? Have you had some feedback on it so far?
I've shared it with my family, and they've given me favorable feedback. But I've also shared a couple of the stories with my English teacher at school.
Oh, good. Yep.
And she has also given me good feedback. But I haven't actually shared it with my friends yet. I plan on doing that soon.
Well, you do have that coming up very soon. For those watching, the book is out on the 15th of May. So grab a copy now. It's available for pre-order. You can get it anywhere books are sold. So when you were conceiving this book and developing it, did you really think, or did you really plan for the publication, or for this step in the goal that now is coming to fruition?
Initially, no, but initially no. I just wrote them as ideas just came. But then I thought that I was inspired to try and get other people to start liking maths more, because as you said, you've never heard of that before, right? So so I do hope to make maths a little less scarier, a little more likable. So because I know that a lot of my friends don't like maths, so that was one of the motives for publishing it.
You've done a great job in the entertainment value. So with that too, like just tell us about the process for you in writing. Like how long did it take you to write the story and then put the book as a whole? What was your timeline, and how long did you dedicate to writing it?
Each story, I think it took an hour and a half approximately, because they were pretty short stories. It's like about 2 to 3 pages. So it took an hour and a half. I would sit down every week or so. But I didn't force myself to do it, because if you force yourself to do it, then it's really hard to, the words just don't come out. So I just wrote them as and when I really felt like writing. And so that's one of the reasons why it took so long to make it into an actual book, 2 years more. But
well done. So so who's your favorite writer? Like who do you read?
I have so many, but my 3 favorite ones are J.K. Rowling, Enid Blyton, and John Grisham.
Wow, there's some big books there. Wow. Okay. So are they the sort of aspirations you'd like to aspire to have those, be in that caliber of writers? Is writing something you're going to do in the future, or is this just a thing you've done as a hobby through high school? What's your plans?
It's something that I've done as a hobby. Well, I used to want. It's something that I've done as a hobby mainly. I would like to continue writing, but in terms of a career, I was looking at pursuing one in the mathematical field of research, but I would never want to stop writing, because it's a great way for me to express myself. So it gives me a really nice outlet. So I would definitely continue with it.
Well, and you're good at it, so that's another reason. Just keep doing it. So when did you realize you wanted to write? Like you said you just had this idea of maths numbers a few years ago, but when did you decide you actually wanted to write? Was it this process, this inspiration of this story, or before that?
No, before that I'd already written a couple of other stories which were not related to Numberville or Langville in any way. They were just independent stories. And I did submit them at school, and my teacher really encouraged me. So when this idea came, I thought that maybe it would be worth putting it in writing. So yeah.
So was it difficult to come up with the characters and give them that personality and create, I guess, the uniqueness of the character? Like how, with maths, was it difficult to define maths in a character sense, like to create them with personality? How did you challenge yourself with that?
It is quite difficult, but also in a way, I feel like it tells you the character, because pi, for example, it's irrational. Like that's the mathematical classification of it, which meant that when I was building a character for it, it was pretty easy, because being irrational is a personality trait as well as a mathematical characteristic. And also the fact that pi is classified as irrational because it just goes on and on and on and on and on, right? So I thought that would be a good way where I could introduce him as being really talkative, etc. Yep. And I always somehow imagined pi as just being really mischievous, quirky, everyone's favorite, the teacher's pet. So I feel like the numbers, I just always imagined them not just as numbers, but as actual animated things with personalities and colors, and yeah.
Very good. No, I love it. So did you hide? Do you think people are going to have to be maths or very literal to really understand your book, or if you feel like you've explained and created characters that are very personable to anyone on a general sense, so it's still identifiable to maths and English, but do you think people won't be I guess threatened by the intelligence of the book that you put together?
Yeah, I don't think so, because at least I'd hope not. I do try to explain it with leaving out some of the technicalities, because it's obviously really complicated, but you can't put that in a story. It just won't work. So I do try to keep those, like that part, out of it, whilst making it still correct. And then I have footnotes at the end of every chapter, where so as and when they're needed, so that readers are not confused. And so I don't think you have to be mathematically very literate to be able to understand the story. But if you are mathematically literate, you might enjoy it a lot more.
Okay, fair enough. So you've given, as you say, you've given the reader a lot of cushioning and footnotes and understanding explanation and stuff, but the stories themselves are very much human, which is good. You've created a very personable, natural process. As you said, situations happen they have to deal with. There's dramas, and there's humor, and there's their own personalities, which is fantastic for what you've created. And it's so outside the box of something normal that others, I think people will find this book very intriguing in just its creative concept. I enjoyed it especially for that, just in the creative construct you put it in, with such a maths and English presentation. So well done for that. So what do you call, if you have it, do you have any little, through your experience now as a writer, do you have any writing quirks that you have that might be unique? Like some writers write barefoot, some people write certain music, some people write naked. What do you think you have as a writing quirk that when you're writing, you have to have or do or be at this place?
Not sure if it's a quirk as such, but like not with the Numberville stories, but with the languages. When I'm writing the dialogue for that, I like to, especially for French, because I'm studying French at school, so I try to put on an accent. But yeah, that's about
So you're talking aloud in French while you're trying to write it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like in the way a French person would talk, would speak.
Can you do some of that for me, Jeremy? How you speak French?
I
put you on the spot. I'm sorry. No French. Yeah. Okay. So, do you have any other future books coming? Do you have other books that we can look forward to following this one? Have you been writing or conceiving anything else, or are you just busy trying to get your studies up to date at the moment too? I'm sure with school.
I'm both. Because year 12 is pretty intensive. So doing that. But at the same time, as and when ideas come, I'd like to put them in writing and see if they possibly form another book. So
what you're saying, there will be future books coming again from you, and the readers can enjoy. If they love this one, there'll be more. Yeah, that'd be awesome, because you've got a lot of talent. I hope you do pursue it, even if it is just that hobby side of things. But based on that idea, how do you define literary success?
I guess if I make the reader happy, or if I help change their conception of maths in any way, even if it's just slightly, so that when they start, when they study it more and more at school, they are more open to it, so that they don't just look at the textbook, which appears to be some sort of a character assassination, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. No, that's wonderful. That's good, and that's very generous of you too, to understand that you are writing for an audience. And it's not just about you as the writer, but about the readers involving it. And as anyone out there watching too, as I said, the book is available anywhere books are sold. You can pre-order. Vignesha have done a wonderful job of putting this beautiful story together with numbers and literacy. So please grab a copy when you can. So on closing, if I may ask, what would you say to somebody who wanted to be a writer, what you've learned over the last few years? What would you tell someone who came to you and said, I want to write a book? Help me. What can I do?
Just keep writing. Don't worry about making it perfect the first time, because more often than not, it won't be. Often you just try to keep, you'd get into the trap of trying to make every single thing word perfect the very first time, but it doesn't always happen that way. I remember one story I edited 7, 8, 9, 10 times, because it had to be, if I didn't edit it 10 times, it wouldn't have worked as well as I hope it does now. But the first time I did it, I didn't spend that much time on really the editing aspect of it, so it wasn't perfect the first time. And I think that's important for any other person who wants to be a writer. It's an important thing to understand that even if it's not perfect the first time, it's okay. You just keep refining it, but you don't have to do it then and there.
No, that's good advice too. Yeah, just write from your heart and worry about fixing it a bit later too. Don't get bogged down on the editing. But it doesn't have to be perfect. I agree. So in this book too, because you've got such a diversity of people, I'm just curious, who is your favorite character that you feel you created in the stories? Who stands out to you as your favorite?
In the numbers, it's Pi. Pi is my favorite because I identify with him in terms of personality. I try, because I have a pretty childish sense of humor, and I've given Pi the exact same kind of kiddie childish sense of humor. And at the same time, he is very mischievous. That's how I used to be when I was younger in primary school. And he's talkative. He's pretty clever, etc. So he's my favorite in terms of the numbers, and in terms of the languages, I'd say French is my favorite, because I really like French. I'm studying it at school as well. So.
Well, that brings me back to my other question. Are you going to give me some French now? Are you going to tell me? Come on, what can you say in French?
No. Like, you want me to actually speak French, like French?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm asking you to do. Just impress us and show us how you like. Because that's your writer's quirk. So when you're writing and you're just Frenching away, you're very interesting to watch someone do that. I think it's quite funny. Sorry.
Quand je parle français, je trouve que je pense un peu différent.
Okay, I'm going to have to get subtitles for that. What was that?
I said that when I speak French, I feel like I think a bit different.
Yeah, okay. So it takes a different part of your thought process because you've got to sort of think another language, think another way.
Yeah, because thinking about stuff in another language actually helps give you a new perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I find when I'm drunk. So now I'm curious because pie is a bit square. Why do you like pie? Like, you know, I mean, that's a very strange one. What other characters are in there that you like? Because, you know, there's got to be more than one. Who else is very popular for you? Who's your favorite second favorite character?
Second favorite character. I'd say I like the triangle. Triangle ABC is I also have a special place in my heart for Triangle ABC. Just because in general I like triangles. I don't know why. I just do. They're very satisfying shapes. So I do like Triangle ABC, but also even stationary items live in Numberville. I gave them the roles of lawyers. Yeah, so I think probably Miss Pencil would be my favorite. She's the prosecutor. Yeah, so she's pretty cool as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, that's great. So there's obviously a lot of characters to choose from, which is, you know, what we want. So basically you're hoping to inspire your readers to appreciate maps, love words more, and just really indulge themselves in some fun aspects of these two concepts in your book, which you've done really well.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Vignesha, I'm sure they will. Thank you for your time tonight. Good luck with your year 12 this year.
Thank you for having me.
As I said to everybody watching too, the book is out in May for release, but you can also grab a copy of it, pre-order, so it's ready to come to you on the day it's out. Thank you again for everybody watching and supporting Vignesha, our new Australian independent author. And yeah, we're very excited about her book, and I hope you do grab a copy and enjoy it as well. Thank you, Vignesha.
Thank you.